Good evening, Yashashwini. Let's get started now. I will start record it.
Recording in progress.
Okay, today we'll continue with the some more visuals that we are yet to see it. The decomposition tree visual buttons also we learned, right? So bookmarks I covered, drill through filters, buttons, and decomposition tree visual. Today we'll look at it. What is decomposition visual? Why it is required? So what are we going to get out of this visual? The decomposition visual is used to visualize the data in multiple dimensions. It's really a cool new artificial intelligence powered visual in Power BI. It is useful to explore and analyze your data in multiple dimensions. See, it's artificial intelligence. It has artificial intelligence capability, which enables us to find the next dimension data as per the predefined criteria, or as per the defined criteria. Okay, we can define the criteria. Okay, here. So in this case of decomposition tree, we break down the data into individual categories and determine the high and low values using AA functions in the decomposition visual. Okay, so and also we can drill down and analyze the data in the hierarchy for a quick analysis. We'll just take a quick look at, or we'll delve into detail of how to create the decomposition tree, and we will see practically how it is helpful, how the AI powered decomposition tree is helpful for us in order to gain insights. Okay, this is as usual. I'm using the sales table. So what I do is I'll just drag and drop the sales here. Look here, you have analyze. Instead of axis, we can see analyze here. That is, this is very specific to decomposition tree. And here, what I do is I'll just drag and drop all the columns that are required for my analysis. For example, here I just drag and drop, and yeah, category initially I explain by, you have something called explain by category, and you can select whichever column that you wanted, but make sure that you are selecting the categorical variables here. And I'll be using something else. Let's say segment, category, segment, and probably I will use the country wise also. Country wise and region. Let me do one for region. Okay, so region I put it here. And what are the whichever variables, try to put as many variables as possible. We can use subcategory also, category and subcategory, something like that. Fine, this is enough. Okay, now if you look at on the left side in the report canvas, we can see the sales. Okay, we can see the sales here. So that's what I mentioned it in the analyze section, right? In the analyze section I mentioned I use the sales column, and then the explain the sales by category, by subcategory, or segment wise, region wise, country wise, we can say it. So on the here you can see the plus sign here, using which we can split the data or partition the data. But when you click on this plus icon, it shows high value, low value. This is where the artificial intelligence comes into picture. Let us, instead of choosing this one, right, or we can see the what is the high value of the sales. If you select this, it'll take some time to display the tree. It's a kind of a decision tree. Okay, so in the consumer segment, the sales is very high, and corporate segment, and also home office. Okay, so these are the three segments. And also when you select this one, right click and show as a table, you can see the table also along with this one. It will take some time. Look here, consumer segment 58 lakhs, and corporate segment 34, and home office 20%. Okay, this is what we can say. I just click go back to report, and from here what I do is instead of using this one, I'm going to deselect this one now, and now I click plus and then category, explore category. So category wise sales now. So technology and furniture and office supplies we can see here. And here if I expand this further, and if I expand it by segment wise, I want to see it. Yeah, in the technology, the consumer segment, the sale is more, and in the furniture segment we will see, so in the case of furniture category, so consumer segment, okay, that is the one ranks number one. So in all three segment, on all three categories, in the consumer segment the sale is more. That is what we can understand from here. And next what we do is here I'll just select here, and here I just click further. So I just want to see the within the consumer, what is the high value thing. Okay, so in the phones we are getting more sales and copiers. These are the items we are selling it as part of the technology. In the consumer segment we sold these subcategories. Okay, so here in the case of technology, the consumer segment, we are selling more on phones. And let us take a look at in the corporate segment, which one. Okay, corporate also we are selling more on phone and copiers, and here we will see home office also the same pattern, we can see it here. So now I just click here, and okay, so the next one is, this is my subcategory, and I just expand this one by clicking this one. In this, again, if you want to see within the phones, right, high value and which region, right, which region contributes more on the phones revenue. If you look here, the central region is more 1 million, right? So it's kind of 1 lakh 196k, and here 89k, and here 88k. So the central region we are selling more on the phones. In the consumer segment falls under technology. It's a cool new feature. So look here, if you want to see the high value, low value also you can see it. Okay, where you are not selling well, that also you can see it. And the next one is country wise we can see it. So in the country, in the country wise, right, so Germany and France. So here if you can scroll down, if you want to scroll down, you can scroll down here just by clicking the up arrow or the down arrow. You can scroll down and see what is happening here. So here beyond this you don't have anything, right? The split happened. But when you select this one specific Germany, if you want to see, right, in Germany, in region, central region and phones and consumer segment technology, this is the sales. Okay, and if you select the specific thing, if you click on it, this one will get highlighted. The rest of them will become less transparent. It will dim the rest of the trees branches. This kind of the decision tree, right? So in the case of decision tree, it is kind of a branch. You don't have to install decision tree. Okay, the decompose, you don't have to install. Okay, it is already available on your visualizations, right? See, one issue which I noticed it here, till last session I was using the older version of the Power BI. I downloaded it on the recent one I downloaded on October 28th. Prior to that I used different versions, and October 27th whatever I downloaded, I was using it till the last session. I could see a lot of features were missing, right? So what you do is you can go ahead and install Power BI desktop one more time. Go to the website, right? So go to the Google and download Power BI desktop. I think it is updating the existing one. You don't have to uninstall the existing one, right? Simply go ahead and download and install the newer one. It is getting updated automatically. Okay, and you can see all these features. So the decomposition tree and Q&A and smart narrative, or something called smart narrative, and paginated report is also available here, and Power Apps for Power BI. All the visuals, the majority of the visuals are available here. Okay, so simply go and download it once again and install it. All right, yes, Basuraj. Okay, good. So this is how you can explore the data. You can drill down. You can drill down and analyze the data in hierarchy, right? In hierarchy level, right? We are drilling down and doing a quick analysis. So, but there are some limitations here. We can have a maximum 50 levels in a decomposition tree, and it supports 5,000 data points at one time in the tree. But it does not support on-premises analysis services, Power BI report server, direct query and all. We cannot use Q&A features in decomposition tree. And also we cannot use decomposition tree in mobile, Power BI mobile. And also you cannot pin this to dashboard with the decomposition tree. We will see what is pinning. Pinning is nothing but from your report, select a specific visual and then copy it to your dashboard. That I will show you in today's session. Don't worry, okay? It's basically a preview feature, right? So the time of this session, right? I don't know, maybe in future releases they might enable this visual to be available as part of your Power BI service, and also you should be able to, maybe they will lift all the limitations in the upcoming releases or features. This is a very cool feature. Okay, so for example, if you want to, any layman can understand with this one, right? It's a very cool feature. And when you select furniture, within the furniture, or 1 second, if I go back here, right? So if I go back here and select it, furniture and consumer, if you want to see the consumer segment, right? So if you want to see the consumer segment, you can expand it further, right? Within this one. Okay, or if you want to see, if you want to go back, for example, if you want to go back from the beginning, you just deselect all these things by clicking cross. So just click plus, and then what you do is you start with the category as usual, and if you want to go to furniture, right, click plus sign and check the high value in the furniture. What is the highest sales in the segment? Which segment contributed more sales in the furniture? Consumer, again consumer. Okay, and in the consumer, I just want to see in which subcategory of the furniture generated more revenue, bookcases. Okay, and if you want to understand, for example, instead of using only the high value, if you want to understand in which segment we did not do well, this is the category and furniture. So again, while extending itself, we can see it, but country wise we can see it. So automatically it shows in which all country you are not selling well. If you go up here, you can see Sri Lanka and a lot of countries, right? And if you want to know in detail, you can select this one further. Okay, and segment wise, region wise, subcategory wise, you can see it. Similarly for office supplies also you can do it. And 1 second, let me just close this one. For example, let us take office supplies, and I just want to see what is the segment wise sales. Automatically when you select this segment, it shows the segment wise sales in ascending order, 15 lakhs and 8 lakhs and 5 lakhs, right? So with this itself you can see it. And supposing you wanted to see the region, in which region office supplies in the consumer segment we are selling more, central. As usual, we can see the same trend. Even technology also, we found that in consumer segment the sale was very high, and similarly in office supplies also it is very high. And you can just go ahead and see in central which subcategory we are selling more, right? In consumer segment, in the central region, storage we are selling more, and next comes appliances, and the third one is binders, right? It's very easy to use. Any layman can understand this one. Okay, if I wanted to see United States, just select this United States automatically you will see to that, from the branch, and this is the leaf level, this is the branch level, right? And where you can kind of the lineage, you can find out the rules, you can extract the rule here. The office supplies, in the consumer segment, we are making more sales in the storage subcategory in United States. In United States central region, right? In United States central region, or we can say like that, we can rephrase that. In United States, in the central region, in the office supplies category, especially the storage subcategory, we are making more sales in consumer segment. Very easy to remember. So very easy to generate the rule or understand, where we are doing it. For example, if you select the binder, you cannot do it here, but you need to extend it here. Okay. For example, if you select, see, the bar itself shows where the sale is more, right? They say where the sale is more, and if you select France, you can see France also. That's each country, they divide it with the different regions, central region, south region. All the country we could see that in the central region the sale is more. Or if you wanted to see state wise, in the each region, state or city wise also you can see it. Okay, you can drag and drop the city or state in this explained by section. Okay, so in the analyze, what we want to analyze, we want to analyze sales. Similarly, you can analyze profit and other things also. This is very cool, nice feature. Here you can see the lock kind of thing. For example, if I lock it here, or if I lock it here, it's already locked, and if I lock it here, and once you lock it, and when you publish it on cloud, right? So the end users cannot modify this one. It's kind of a read-only access. That's the reason why they've given the lock thing here. And for example, if I unlock it here, right? So if I unlock it here, so till this place they can make a changes. Beyond this they cannot make it. See, they can come back here, the end users, you can allow the end users, instead of restrict them completely, what we do is we will give them some amount of free hand. Okay, up to right from from subcategory to country they can do some kind of filtering, or region. What you do is region or segment, you can unlock it, or country you can lock it, something like that. Okay, but this is the highest level leaf node. But if you enable locking here, everything gets locked. Okay, so what the only way out is you can unlock this one. So what do you mean by unlock? For lock and unlock, for example, if I click this one, it got locked. Okay, and if I want to do some further selection, right, it will not work. For example, try to select this one, it will not work. For example, but when you keep selecting it, when you click on it, right, click on it, it will get closed. Okay, and once again I unlocked it, and subcategories also I unlock it, rest of them got locked. So they cannot make any more changes to this one. They cannot select beyond this, they can select within this. Okay, and for example, okay, here it is locked. One second, I'll unlock it. So in the region consumer, in the region they can see it, and each region what is the subcategory, and they can select it. So now only these sections got. So when I select a segment, look here, the segment got locked, so you cannot. Okay, even segment is also possible, right? Office, let me select office space. Yeah, so when I select office supplies, that's all, it is closing it, right? Furniture, if I select it, it is closing it. One level below this one segment, it is it is not allowing me, right? So up to segment it was allowing us. So the lock is mainly to restrict the end users to make changes to this decision tree or decomposition tree. It is more or less like your decision tree. With this you can easily see decision tree. Even in our day-to-day life you will be using it, even in your office you will be using it, right? You will be using some Excel or some other tool to make some decision. So if so and so rule is there, if so and so criteria, when so and so criteria, we are not going to proceed. The same thing is applicable. So the lock is available. You can unlock it during the time of development, and once you unlock it, you can do extensive analysis. Okay, and you can drag and drop some more columns, as many, for example, order priority. If you want to do multi-dimensional, that's what we can do, multi-dimensional analysis with the decomposition tree. That is the beauty of this one, though it has some kind of limitations, right? You cannot have more than 50 levels in your decomposition tree. So these are the levels: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up to 50 levels you can have it. Beyond that you cannot have it. So pretty easy to understand the decomposition tree, and also you can understand the rules or understand the path. For example, here, right, I showed you in which country and which segment we are selling more. The high value, low value is artificial intelligence feature. Okay, it enables us to quickly understand high value in each segment, low value in each segment, right? It helps us to understand, and based on the high value, low value also, you can do multi-dimensional analysis. That's what we have seen it. Okay, next what we will do is, we have something else called R visualization, Python visualization. So you can use R program to create a visualization, and you can make it as part of your Power BI report. For example, here they have given R and Python. You just select R, okay, and enable script visual. You need to enable script visual to begin creating R script. Script visuals can execute script code that may contain security or privacy risk. So I'm going to enable this one, R script. I'm going to enable it. So next, I don't know how many of you are familiar with R script. If you don't know, don't worry. You just watch, you'll be able to answer. So visualization script. So this is where. So when I selected R script, and when I dragged and dropped it here, automatically it opens this one, R script editor. But it was asking some option. It was prompting us to enable this one. Since I selected enable, now the R script editor is enabled here. Here, what I do is I select some columns, okay, some columns, some values. Sorry, or something like, I just put something like this here. I just selected this one. Look here, data.frame profit unique dataset. I don't know how many of you are familiar with, or even if you know Python, the pandas, right? You should be able to understand. So this is the comment section. I'm going to generate some data. Data generation. So what I do is I'll select something like A, and this less than hyphen is nothing but equal sign. In OR, the assignment operator we can use like this also, okay. So for example, I want to generate 1 to 100, okay. I want to generate 1 to 100 values, okay, and I'm just creating some data set. X is holding 1 to 100 values, and Y is holding, let's know, the same X plus OR norm. OR norm is a function which is available in OR. This is to generate the normally distributed data, and mean is equal to 0. Whenever you use OR norm function, you need to specify the mean and standard deviation, because OR norm function is going to generate normally distributed data. In order to generate the normally distributed data, you need to specify mean and standard deviation. Okay, yeah, it's here, right? Yeah, fine, good, yeah, correct. So or else I just use X here. Thanks, Shashwani. The standard deviation, we use something called SD and 15 or something like that. You can specify the standard deviation whatever value you wanted, and then we have a function called plot that is available in R, X comma Y, X axis, Y axis, and then I'm going to say PCH is equivalent to 9, and column is equivalent to, let's blue color. So plot, okay, in the plot I'm going to use, and then I'm going to use something called regression line. So we have something called AB line function is available. Here LM function is, LM stands for linear regression. Y this one, okay, and X. That means in the linear regression model, I am going to specify the dependent variable and then, independent variable. This is a dependent variable, this is an independent variable, okay. In the linear regression, the first argument supposed to your dependent variable, this is your independent variable. Your independent variable can be more than one value. So in this case, I am going to use, for demonstration purpose, I am going to use only one variable and something left, something like that, okay, LWD equal to 3. That's all. I am going to, so here you can see the button here, right? So the hand symbol you can see right here. So I'm going to click this one. This script will get executed and then the chart will get generated here. If the syntax is correct, it will generate the chart. If the syntax is wrong, it will throw an error. Yeah, it is working fine. Look here. Using my R program also, I can generate a visual here. Supposing you have a linear regression model here, or you want to plot a scatter plot, okay, you want to use even R, you can use all kind of visual like a scatter plot and a strip chart and even violin chart, box plot, everything you can plot it using R. R is known for visualization, okay. So it's an open source tool, R, and you can generate production quality charts using R, okay. R is known for visualization. So next one is, yes, we are done with this, okay. Next, you have, if you have any other visuals, you can drag and drop it. Along with it, you can keep it here, okay. So this is pretty simple one. And Python, I have some issue with Python, okay. Python also the same way. But if I select here, these commands will not work. Let me do one thing. I'll just reselect this one again. Because Python commands are different, R commands are different. But in R also, this is the issue is here. So here there is something called standard library related function is available, plot. But when you use Python, you have to use some package. You need to import the package. When I try to import the package, it says the package not available. It was throwing an error. Okay, so here you have something called file and options and settings. When you go to options and settings, when you install Power BI, it automatically locates the RN Python installation folder in your system. Look here, R scripting. This is where R got installed. RStudio is also detected automatically. This is the GUI for R programming, and this is my Python scripting. Okay, and here I'm using the correct version, maybe because the Anaconda Python, I'm using Anaconda Python, I think, because of which it is not doing it. But even in the case of R, I could not import any package. Here, when I try to import a package, from that package, if I want to use any plot function or something like that, it is throwing an error. So Python, we cannot use directly plot like that. We need to import some package. From that package, in that package, whatever function is available, with that only you can play around with it. Since you learned how to generate a chart using R script, right? So this is enough. The same way you can do it with Python. But Python, we have something called matplotlib. You have something called I'll just type it here. But anyhow, it's a comment section. Matplotlib .pyplot. You have something called this is the package. You can use it. And Seaborn. You have something called Seaborn. This is another package. These two packages are very popular in Python for visualization. So even Python is also open source, and you can plot awesome charts using these two packages. Apart from this, a lot of other packages are available, Plotly and so many things. Anyhow, let us not spend too much of time here, because in Power BI itself, a lot of visuals are available. So why do I need to use it from there? There are some machine learning or anything related. Say this is machine learning related chart, whether my model is fitted well or not. Linear regression model is fitted well. So yes, So this is the red colored is a straight line, and the blue colored are the observations. Most of the observations are closer to this red line. So that means my model is fitted well. Okay, supposing you have sales and profit, yeah, but the sales and profit, these two variables are linearly correlated. These two variables are correlation. There is a correlation exists between these two variables. A simple example is, as the price decrease, obviously sale will also increase. There is a correlation between price and sales. Similarly, as the sale increases, obviously the profit will also increase. But still, we need to monitor. So we need to validate whatever the common phenomenon is correct or not. So not always when the sales increase, the profit should also increase. We have seen it something an odd case in the previous session in the furniture category. We found though the sales was more, the profitability was not so good, right? So to validate, are there any relationship exists between or correlation exists between two quantitative variable, we can use scatter plot. So likewise, right? So yeah, the question to is what I'm trying to say is you have a lot of visuals here. You might be asking, why should I go and import it from R? But in R and Python, you can implement the machine learning models. And with now we fitted a linear regression model here. We fitted a linear regression model using LM function. This is a machine learning model, linear regression model. So this model also we plotted it. With that we can see whether all the observations are as close to as many data points as possible. With this we are able to understand, yes, good. So the linear regression model is fitting very well. Okay. So you can justify along with the data analytics. You can tell your machine learning models, we fitted decision model also, it's a good fit. You can tell them. Okay. So if my model is a good fit, then what is the use? The prediction, what you are doing as part of Power BI is, just descriptive. You are showing what is happening currently and what has happened in the past. And if you wanted to know what is happening in the future, that is where the machine learning, deep learning algorithms are very much powerful. So you can embed that one also here. The visual of that one also you can embed it here. And next one is, we have something called the Q&A feature. Okay, the Q&A feature is not working in Power BI desktop. So what I will do is, I will go to the Power BI service, okay, on cloud. So we'll see how the Q&A visual is working on it now. The question and Q&A stands for question and answer. This question answer feature of Power BI is one of the exciting features. Okay, it is powered by artificial intelligence. One second, let me just check. How many of you have created the login credentials for the app.powerbi? If you have not yet done, please go ahead and do it. Okay. One second. See, now it sent authentication to my mobile phone. In my mobile phone, Microsoft Authenticator. Look here, all of you, please. Microsoft Authenticator. Okay, you need to install it. Okay, you are already done, right? Very good. Okay, so you need to install this one. How do you install Microsoft Authenticator? You can go to Play Store and type Microsoft Authenticator, and then install it. That's all. Once you install it, you're all set. Okay, next, see, look here, now it is asking me to approve it from my mobile phone. From my mobile phone, I'm going to select approve here. Okay, but again it will wait for some time. I did not approve it quickly, so having trouble. Look here. So in this case, I need to send another request to my authenticator app. So in sometimes, right, it will take some time for you to open your mobile. See, now in my mobile phone, the authenticator app shows approve sign in. I press approve here in my mobile phone, and here I have screen lock. I unlock it. Now it is getting connected. Look here, it got connected to my Power BI. It's done. So here I have already published a report. Okay, here. So here you can see the workspaces, and here you can see my workspace. There are two types of workspaces. So workspaces are basically to share our content or collaborate or socialize our reports or dashboards with other users within our organization. Okay. So what I do is, at this moment, we will see what is workspaces, what is my workspaces a little later. For example, I have created a workspace called sales and marketing. In this, I have published a report already. I just opened it. Don't worry, everything I'll show it from the scratch. You know how to publish. You know how to publish it. In the only one button is there, publish in Power BI desktop. Look here. In Power BI desktop, we have something called publish. If I click publish, it will ask for the username and password for my Power BI cloud service. So here I have used something like support@deepneuron.in. So when I type that, it will automatically connect to my Power BI service on cloud, and then it will ask the workspace name, which workspace you want to publish it. Since I already created a workspace by the name of sales and marketing, when I select that one and when I press OK, my report, whatever I developed it here, it will get published on cloud. Okay, it will get published on cloud. So look here, it's already open, right? 1 second, let me just. So you have something called, for example, when you, so this is the one I published. 1 second, just let me just. Yeah, when I just want to get insights, spotlight, everything. So a lot of features are available with this one. It's a fantastic feature that is available in. So this is the one. I'll just show you here, and I'm not able to move this one. Okay, 1 second. Let me. Chat in Teams. You can chat with your team members also. Suppose you are working in a project, all the team members, you can collaborate using Q&A also, right? So once you deploy your, deploy your report or dashboard on cloud, you can collaborate with your people. 1 second, let me just disable this one. Okay, this is the one, right? I'll just press escape. Okay, let me do one thing. I'll just select edit, and I'll just click ask a question. Okay, so I'm going to select one more. Then it's not toggling here, right? So I was able to toggle this one earlier. Yeah, remove. This is the one. Yeah, remove, and here I'm going to say select remove. Yeah, only when you edit it, you should be able to remove it. Okay, and here, look here, I just removed it. Still it is not getting removed. Okay, anyhow, this is the default thing that is available here. What we will do is, I'll just make it big here, and I'll just drag it up, or I'll drag somewhere here. Okay, and it's not getting removed. Yeah, it's got removed. Very good. So look here, this is what the report I published on the cloud. Okay, on the Power BI. So don't worry. See, we are yet to complete how to design a dashboard. So far we covered the bits and pieces, different visuals like tree map and bubble chart, all the things we discussed, and how to design a dashboard, right? So that we will see it probably in tomorrow's session. Okay, So this report already I developed it and I published it here. Okay, I just published it here. Here what I have a feature called ask a question here. So Q&A. This is one of the exciting features. It is powered by Power BI. It is powered by artificial intelligence in Power BI. Okay, so with this we can delve deeper into our data and improve or enhance our dashboard creation with the help of the artificial intelligence running behind this Power BI. For example, if you don't have time to create visuals, you can get help of this Q&A feature, okay, to create reports for you. So when you are on your Power BI dashboard here, you can see the option where it says, ask a question about your data. So you can ask a Power BI a natural language question and get an answer in the form of a visual. For example, if I click something, see, these are the questions generated automatically by Q&A. Okay, show sales year to date. Look here, when I select this, it automatically shows them in a visual, something year to date. This is my year to date sales. Or if you want to ask any other question, number of show sorted by region, show sales by country. I just expand this one here. Show all suggestions. When I select show all suggestions, it display all the list of generated through natural language generated questions. Okay, what is the most recent calendar, total quantity to buy product, compare sales month to date versus sale. So when you select this one, it automatically generates this one also. Look here, the visual was generated automatically. Okay, and supposing if I want something else, sales by region, something like that. Okay, if you select this one, it automatically generates this visual. It's fantastic feature, isn't it? You don't have to write, you don't have to drag and drop, you don't have to drag and drop the columns, which axis should I place which one. You don't have to. Simply by typing the text, it generates the visual based on the text whatever you type it. For example, here if I want do it in pie chart, right, in pie. So sales by region in pie chart, you can say it. So this is how Microsoft Power BI make use of artificial intelligence. And when I clicked the show all suggestions, right, I was able to see more auto generated questions. So that's what, if I want to change the type of the chart, you need to use in pie or something like that. Okay, so with this you can generate the charts. For example, here tree map, we will see tree map. See, tree map also getting generated. Or if you want to see it in a table, you can see it. If you want to see it in a map, you can see it. It's a fantastic visual thing, right? It's a feature that is available in Power BI. I'm going to remove this now. Fine. So now let us go back to the next topic. So next one is, we'll try to go in this way now, the interview question aspect. So what is the difference between drill down and drill through? So drill down, what is drill down, and what is drill through, very well. So drill down is a way of viewing the summary values. By viewing the summary values, if you want to expand, or if you want to go, you want to go to the next level, right, from the hierarchy, you can use drill down. And drill through, it will take the users to explore another aspect of the data that is relevant to the data that is being analyzed, right? So in the case of drill down, to make it possible, to make the drill down to be possible, right, so at least 2 levels should be there. For example, you have something like the year and quarter, right, year and quarter. If you take the date calendar, if you want to enable a drill down, at least minimum 2 levels should be there. That is the prerequisite. If you have 2 levels, you can create a hierarchy, right, within a single visual. So that is the one will allow us to visualize the data at the highest level. Then we can drill down to the lower levels of the data to get more details. See, for example, here I have a country here. I'm going to create a hierarchy now. How can I create the hierarchy? See, in the case of calendar, automatically it created the hierarchy. Okay, but if I wanted to create it on my own, yes, you can do it. So we have category and subcategory. We can do it, and we have something like, yeah, we'll use country. Country is the candidate for having multi levels in hierarchy, and I'm going to create a hierarchy. Country level hierarchy. So what I will do is I will make the one second, it is still in progress. The next one is the region, country wise, region wise. You can add to hierarchy. Select the column, whichever column that you want. See, already when you expand this one, right, I just selected country and create hierarchy. That's it. It took few seconds to create this one, country hierarchy. In this arrow mark, if you select, if you expand it, you can see country already made part of the country hierarchy. Now what you do is you want to add some more levels beneath this country. So what I do is country, and next one is state level, and city level you can have it. So here what I do is I'll add region here. When I select region column, right, I can see add to hierarchy here, and I can add to this category. Okay, hierarchy, country hierarchy, add region to the country hierarchy. And if I go up here and if I expand this, I can see that country and region, these two are part of my country hierarchy. So, and we will see, is there any other thing, state. I'll go and make the segment also as part of my country hierarchy. See, in the organization also we have hierarchy, like CO, just beneath him vice president, under vice president group head, and each group head multiple managers, multiple senior managers, and under senior manager project managers likewise. So look here, we have created an hierarchy here. And if I want to create a visual, look here, I just drag and drop this one in this axis. That's all. In the values, I just go ahead and select the profit here. This is my drill down. See, since we have created hierarchy, so in the case of drill down, hierarchies must at least minimum 2 levels should be there. Okay, but here we have 1, 2, 3 levels are there. Okay, and if I wanted to view country-wise sales at an high level, country-wise profit, we can see it here. If I want to go to the next level, for example, if you want to see the region-wise profit, so what you do is, you just select this one. This is the one, the double down arrow, right? So if you select this one, it will show you the next level, region level. What is the profitability? You can see it here. And then if you go one more down, right? So one more level down, you just select this one. This is the one will show you the state level profitability. Each state, what is the profitability? You can see England. This is where we made a lot of profit. New York state and California state, right? This is what we are. You can use a filter here, slicer. You can use a slicer and you can filter country wise, state wise, what is the sales, you can say. So now if I want to go one level above this one, so currently we are in state, just click this one. So this is drill up. Again, if you say now we are in region level, from the region to country level, if you want to view the profitability, click one more time to go up. So drill up. Now you understand drill up and drill down. So if you want to drill down to the next level, select this one and select this one. Okay. Or if you don't want to see everything, right? you wanted to directly go to the last thing in your hierarchy. Directly you want to go to the region, or okay, here also it goes to region level and state level. This is another alternative to that. Okay, so you can do drill down and drill up. With hierarchy only, you should be able to do drill down, drill up. Keep that in mind. So this is what drill down, and to wanted to view the data at the granular level. Granular in the sense more detailed manner. Country level is not sufficient. This just give me a high level view. I want to go to the next level. Next granular level is region, and I want to go to the next granular level. Okay, the fine granular level is state. In this case, the fine granular level is state level profit. This is the term they use it. What is the granularity that you used it in your hierarchy? Fine. Now you understood how to create a drill down. What is drill down, and also how to create hierarchy. Okay, so even so far we discussed about the calendar thing, right? The year, quarter, month. So apart from this, you can also create the hierarchy on your own. Even for the calendar table also, you can create your own hierarchy. So and in the case of drill through, we already discussed, right? So in the case of drill through, it'll enable the users. What is drill through? It is enable the users to explore another aspect of the data that is relevant to the data that was being analyzed, right? So that was the one. You hope you remember in the case of bubble chart, we spent enough time how to do drill down, drill through. We discussed drill through that time, right? The next question is, what is a slicer? Why do I need to use slicer? And what are the advantages of using slicer? So they might ask you in the interview, so why can't I use filter? The filter is a hidden feature. Why can't I use the filter hidden feature? Why should I use the slicer? So this is the one, right? Provides an easier and more convenient way to the end user to filter the visuals. See, hidden feature is also available. Hidden, for example, here, if you go to this one, filter pane, as we discussed, there are four types of or levels of filters are there. One is visual level filter. For example, if I want to select this visual level filter, right? So if I can select it here, I can do something like country level. So I can do basic filtering, right? I can select whichever I can. This is the implicit filter. If I want to improve, if I want to give a user-friendly dashboard, right? Interactive dashboard. In that case, the slicer is very much helpful. The slicer is a very user-friendly one, and also it is a more convenient way for the end user to filter the visuals. Okay, if you have multiple visuals, if you want to filter it based on specific feature or column, right? So then you can go for, because it's the convenient way for the users. So the end users, we cannot expect them to be technically good, like what is page level filter, what is visual level filter, and across page, all pages level filter. They may not be aware of this one, end user, right? And what are the drawbacks of slices? So Power BI, it does not provide support for input fields. You cannot use input fields here, and also you cannot use drill down in the Power. So in the case of slicer, you cannot use drill down, okay? And there is no provision or feature of pinning a slicer to the dashboard. So though you have a slicer here, and you cannot pin the slicer to your dashboard there, okay? I will show you what is pinning and all, don't worry, okay? Now you understood what is a slicer. So in simple term, right, this is the one will enable the end user to filter the visual in a more convenient way. In simple term, that is what slicer is all about. It is very user friendly. The report users can pick and choose what they want to be displayed on the visuals using slicers. The slicers are canvas visual filters. The slicers are canvas visual filters. Look here, this is my canvas visual filter. Sorry. So before you select, right, you select some empty place in your canvas. I made a mistake again. So this is my slicer here. I just drag and drop country category here, and I just keep it here. So as I told you, in the slicer different options are available. Like when you expand this one, you can see list and drop down in this case, okay, and drop down also you can use, list is also you can use it. And you have another option when you go to the format here, slicer, header, and selection controls. Selection control is something like, if I want to filter the visuals based on the technology and furniture, if I select this one, what happens? Only this one gets selected. I cannot select more than one category here. In order to select more than one category in my slicer, I need to press Control and then only I can select it. So here what you do is multi-select with Control, you disable it, so that the user can make more than one selection without using Control key, right? So they can select and deselect whichever filter they want to apply it, right? Directly going. So that here I disabled this one, and then the next one is, here's something called orientation, general orientation. I'm looking for, yeah, this is what orientation. Instead of vertical, we can have horizontal also. Look here, horizontal. So you can give more friendly, user friendly kind of thing. Here you can keep it here. So that's what I did it in my dashboard here. Look here, report here. So this is how you can keep it here. And also you can enable select all also. When you click select all, it will select everything. Okay, and for that also there are some options are available. A lot of options are available. You need to select this one, and then you just select here, and here you have some option is there, and selection controls. This is more related to your height, width, everything. Selection control, single select, multi select all option. Look here, if I enable this one, you can see select all. Instead of selecting one by one, you are having additional options. Select all three should select. Okay, or if I select only technology, select only technology. Or if I select furniture and technology together, I can, without using control, I can make a selection of more than one item here. Or if I want to do select all, it will select everything. Even the or visual also getting filtered, right? And also border, if you want border, you can have it, a shadow, visual header, all the things. We will see how to create a dashboard in a nice dashboard, right? We will see it in a tomorrow session, because that takes longer time. Okay, at least 30 to 40 minutes are required. So now you understood what is slicer. Slicer is user friendly. We are allowing the users to pick and choose what they want to be displayed on the filters. So there are 4 types of filters we discussed already. And next one is, what is the difference between slicer and filter? Slicer, we have seen it so far. The filter is a hidden feature, right? So in some report, there might be multiple pages. On all those pages, you might need you want to filter it, right? So you can, what you do is using this option, filter. Look here, this is what I'm talking about it, right? Filter on all pages. You can select specific field. For example, here I just put category here, and what I do is I just do basic filtering. I want to filter all, let's say in my case page 1 to page 8 pages are there. Each page I have different visuals. I just want to enable this one. This filter will be applied on all the pages. Instead of going to each and every page, having a slicer and selecting each and everything, right? It's a painful thing. Apply this filter for all the pages. So in that case, we will be using the filter. It is a hidden feature. Though it is hidden feature, you can apply all the pages, right? But this is not more user friendly. The user should be knowing, how to use the filter, and also they should be knowing how to apply on what is on all pages on this page, right? It's a painful thing. It is not much user friendly. That is the difference between slicer and filter. And next one is, what is the difference between slicer and sync slicer? We have something called sync slicer. So we know what is a slicer and what is a sync slicer. Right, you must be knowing, so you know now, right? So what is a slicer is all about? Slicer is to filter the visuals in simple term. But there are cases, in some reports, there might be multiple pages are there, and all these pages you might need a common slicer. Same scenario, right? The same scenario. Look here. Instead of using filter option, for example, here I have used the filter here, slicer. I have used the slicer, but the same slicer I need to use it in all my pages. For example, here I have page 7. I will see I have, let me go to some other thing here. Look here. So now we will see this one, page number 5. When I select something here, if I use furniture category and technology, these two category, the visuals that are there in this page got changed accordingly, right? It got filtered based on the values that I selected in this. Remember, furniture and technology. I just go to page 5. Here, still, it is not selected. The filter, whatever I use it here, the slicer, right? In the slicer, whatever the filter that I applied on that specific page number 8 visuals, right? It is not applicable here. It is kind of a standalone slicer here. This slicer is a standalone. This is applicable. Whatever the items that I selected here, that is applicable only in this page visuals. For example, if I want to filter on furniture, only these visuals will get filtered, but page number 5 on other pages, wherever I use this one, right, it will not get applied there. So is there any way I can use the same slicer across? One way out is you can copy this one and paste in all the 8 pages or 7 pages. So in this case, 7 pages fine. If you have 15 pages, it's a painful job. Instead of creating the same slicer in each of the page, right, we can create it in one main page and reuse the same slicer and sync this slicer across the desired pages. That is the beauty of sync slicer. See here, you might be asking this question. So in this case, what I do is I'll go and drag and drop filters on all pages. But the challenge here is I don't want to use this slicer in all the pages. Only the specific pages I want to use this slicer. I want to use this slicer in, for example, second page and fourth page and fifth page. Only I want to copy paste this. Instead of copy pasting it, is there any other way I can? So what you do is you just selected it here, and I just go to the, I think in the view it is sync slicers. Yeah, if I enable sync slicer, look here, if I select this slicer, and when I go to the view button, view ribbon, there I can see something called sync slicers. When you select this sync slicers, it will ask you which all pages you want me to duplicate this one. Simply it will copy paste in all the page. Can I do it in all the pages or specific pages? Look here, I don't want to copy paste this in all the pages. Instead, go to 5th page and enable the I also here. Okay, so this I is enable this one, this slicer on that page. But if I don't select this, apply this filter on the 5th page, but don't display this slicer. Visually it should not appear. If I select office supplies or technology in this page, automatically the same values related data should be filtered in page number 5 visual. No, I want this one also to be made as part of my 5th page. Yes, okay. So now if you go to 5th page, see the visual got copied and that got synced up with my that page. For example, here I select only technology here, right? And if I go to page number 5, one second, select a single here. I am yet to apply this one. Okay, one second. Select a single in one of your report pages, start syncing it across. Yeah. So this is the one, right? I am yet to apply this one. See, selected, right? Fine. So next one is advanced options category. So I can do it here, and what I do is, you can also copy paste. While copy pasting, it will ask you for that one, page name, and fine. So add and sync with all pages. So if you select this one, it will select everything, and I don't want everything to be done. And here, for example, if I select, I will deselect. I just deselect, and page number 1 let it be there, and page number 5. Five and 6, or select specific pages. That's all. Okay. And here you can enable. Here what is, yeah, we are enabling it. Let us go and check if this is, yeah, technology. Look here, it got filtered here, right? Page number 5 and page number 8. Let us select some other category here. If I, yeah, so even one second, where is the slicer itself missing here? One second, page number 5. Okay, it got copied there. One second, page number 8. Somehow it got disappeared. Oh, I did not select that one, right? That is the problem, I made it. So one second, I just go to page number 5, and you need to select this one. You need to select this one, and then yeah, here page number 1. See, page number 8, I did not select it. That is the problem. So this is the base thing. This itself I did not select it. If I go and see it here, it is available here. So technology, office supplies, and let's say, I select furniture and technology. Or let me select, furniture and technology. I selected it here. Wait for some time and go to page number 5. Your furniture and technology should get filtered there also. See, look here, furniture and technology got filtered, right? So now we have understood how effective this sync slicer is. It saves a lot of time, and it also sync the pages based on, right? It syncs the slicers in the pages wherever you have used the slicer. So you can use the slicer in specific page, and you can sync up the slicer on all those pages whatever you selected it, right, using sync slicer. That is the difference between slicer and sync slicer. But if you don't enable sync slicer, so so even though you use the same slicer across multiple pages, it will not get synced. If you select technology and furniture, the same will not get filtered across other pages. So in order to make it happen, you need to enable it as a sync slicer. Okay. And next one is, I just go here. Next one is, they'll ask you what is the difference between highlighting and cross filtering. In the intro, they'll ask you about this one. What is cross highlighting and cross filtering? So the cross filtering is nothing but the interactivity among the visuals. Interactivity among the visuals is nothing but your cross filtering. I have shown you, right? So when I select any specific bar here, for let's say, I just remove this one. We don't need this one here. Okay, let it be there. For example, I just want to go to this page number 5. So I go and select all. So everything gets selected. Forget about the slicer now. Let's say if I select this one, what is happening here? So when I select this specific item, furniture, in 2014, what happened here? The other chart also got filtered. There is an interaction between these two visuals. There is an interaction between these two filters, but what is happening here is cross highlighting is happening. So there are two terms. One is cross highlighting and the other one is cross filtering. So when I select a specific item in any one of the visuals, the corresponding values get filtered in the other visuals. Here also I'm using category, here also I'm using category. Okay, so what happens in this case I'm using subcategory. Okay, subcategory. Here what happens is when I select furniture, the corresponding subcategory sales also selected here, but the rest of the bars are dimmed here, dimmed, right? It is not visible. Only the, look here, the dark blue color, you can see, right? That is the one is highlighted now. Highlight, right? These are the one spotlight, kind of a spotlight. Okay, only these one are enabled, right? The rest of the bars are made dim. But in total, it considers all these bars, but specific to this one, furniture category, it highlights only these values in these bars are related to this value, this furniture thing. Right? So this is called cross highlighting. This is called cross highlighting. Supposing if I apply office supplies, if you select office supplies here, what is happening? One second, I'll do one thing. I'll just select here. Sorry, select all. I just do select all. Okay. So here, when I select this one, it is doing the cross highlighting. So in this bar, whichever bars are relevant to a specific item only highlighted. Rest of the bars became dim, right? It reduced the transparency, right? The transparency became very less here. And we have something called cross filtering. So now what we have seen was cross highlighting. Cross highlighting. This is called cross highlighting. See, the issue with this one is, let's say you are end user. Let's say you are the report developer. You develop the report with this feature, cross highlighting. By default, this is the default behavior. Cross highlighting is the default behavior. Okay, when you select any one of the items in this visual, the corresponding values are highlighted here. For example, if I select this one, let's see what happens. Yes, these values are related to this one. The end users is saying that he is not happy with cross highlighting. Why he is not happy with the cross highlighting? Because he wants to see only the bars that are relevant to this item in this chart. So I don't need these bars. Why these bars are displaying here? Why these bars are displaying here? Okay, I think I enabled this one. That's the reason why it was not doing it. One second, let me just And one more best practice is don't enable interactions with all the features, okay, all the visuals in your report page. It's not a good practice, because supposing you are using 10 visuals in your chart, and if you enable the default behavior or if you leave the default behavior as it is, what will happen is behind the scene it will generate multiple queries to filter all the things, okay. It is not the good practice. Hence make sure that, one second. So what we do is we are going to control this filtering behavior. One second, I just come here. I just go to format. We have something called edit interactions. What I will do is, I enabled it by default. That's the reason why it is not doing that. Okay. Now let us select this one. It is doing cross highlighting. Supposing when I select this one, right? When I select this one, all these things are selected, and again when I select this one, everything got selected. Okay, so what, see, basically I want to do some kind of I want to control this filtering. So in the case of cross filtering, it removes the data that does not apply. That is what cross filtering. So in the case of cross highlighting, it highlights the bars that are relevant to this bar chart, right? But still the other bars are there unnecessarily. But I don't want the other bars to be available here. So what I do is just double click on it. Okay, what I do is let me do one thing. I just select office supplies. See what happens here. This is called cross filtering. See, since I enabled this one by default, right, edit interactions, that confusion happens. Supposing if I select the technology here, only display the technology. Okay, one second, I'll just deselect this one. Only technology related subcategory show me here. You note it down. Here we have something called copiers, phones, machines and accessories. When I do cross filtering, this is what cross filtering. In the case of cross filtering, remove the data that is irrelevant to me. Okay, if I do select all, I'll repeat once again. The default behavior is cross highlighting. When I select a specific item in this visual, the corresponding values are highlighted in the other visual, and along with the corresponding or relevant visuals in this, is a relevant bars in this visual, the irrelevant visuals are also displayed unnecessarily. I don't want that to happen. So that is when the cross filtering is coming into picture. Now I just enable, I deselect everything, and to demonstrate, for example, if you want to see the technology, right? So in both the cases, what happens? This is my category and subcategory. So here what happens? It does the cross filtering. In this case, it shows only the relevant values in this chart. Supposing if I select office supplies, look here, it shows only the office supplies related subcategory here. It removes all the other irrelevant charts in this one. And sorry, this is furniture, right? This is furniture. This is my office supplies and this is my furniture. So both put together, and again I don't need office supplies. I deselect it. I just toggle it one more time. It is displaying furniture. So in simple term, cross filtering removes the data that doesn't apply, whereas cross highlighting, it retains all the original data points but dims the portion that does not relevant to the selection. That is the difference between these two. You got it? Cross filtering removes the data that does not apply to it, whereas cross highlighting, it includes all the thing but it dims the irrelevant part and it highlights the relevant parts. Okay, so that is it. See, in case your user comes with the requirement, something like, no, I wanted to see the relevant data, no, I want to see both the relevant and irrelevant, but the irrelevant should be dimmed. So in that case you can go for this one. But in the interview they'll ask you all this thing. What is the difference between cross filtering and cross highlighting? How to control the filtering behavior? How to control the filtering behavior? So that is where, let me do one thing. I'll select all. See here, when we have something called format. How to control the filtering in Power BI? Is there any way I can control the filtering behavior? Okay, we have something called edit interactions. I just go ahead and enable it. See, when I selected this one, you can see something like this, right, along with this one. And here what I do is I just remove this one. For the time being, I just go ahead and remove it. One second, I'll just go here. Fine, I just remember. I just go back to page number 5. In page number 5, we are going to see how to control the filtering in Power BI. We have something called edit interactions. See, one of the coolest feature in Power BI is automatic filtering, isn't it? The default interaction is whenever I click on this one. For example, if I click on this one, it only highlights the values which is related to this category. This is the default interaction, right? Or this is a default behavior. The one is highlighting, which is a default one, right? Other one is filtering and the other one is no interaction. That is what we are going to see now. So one is highlighting, which is the default one. So what I do is I'll just select everything. If you select, here in the empty place inside the visual, if you select, you will see everything, the default thing, the visual, and I just enable. Okay, I enable this one, right? Yeah, and I select here. And when I select here, see, I already selected edit interactions. Look here. Here, what I'm going to do is, so you can see as soon as you click edit interactions, you can find these 3 icons above your visuals, right? If you select this one, and one second, if I select this one, you can find the 3 icons here, and if I select this one, visual, and you can find these 3 icons just above the visuals. Okay, and this one is, right, when I select any one of this bar here or any one of the stacked bar here, don't filter the corresponding value here, no interaction. For example, I just select this one, none. Okay, if I select this one, only the filter is applied here, it is not doing anything. Look here, if I select something else, it is not doing anything here, right? Don't interact with this visual. For that purpose, this icon is used here. Okay, so you can by selecting it, you can enable it. So you can toggle it by one more time if you select something else. For example, you want to highlight it, right? For example, in this one, sorry, here we do it here, and so we have highlight and filter. So for whatever we discussed, right, the same thing. When I enable highlight here, right, and if I select this one here, here it was not disabled. See, here it was not disabled. One second, let me do one thing. I'll just select highlight here. I just select highlight here, and here what I do is, when I select, see here I selected highlight, and when I went back here and when I selected the specific item, the cross highlighting is happening. This is what I discussed a while back. Or if you wanted to filter it, I just select this one, all the items, all the subcategories that are relevant to this one, only you show it here, or all the irrelevant items don't show it. Filter and highlight, it shows you show all the items, but highlight those items, subcategories that are relevant to this. This is more technology, right? And 2014 technology, and second one is office supplies, and third one is furniture. If I select furniture, display the subcategories that are relevant to this one, and again if I select this one, look here. So 3 icons. The one here, you are disabling the interaction. So if I do select this one, irrespective of the item that I select here, it will not interact with this visual. Okay, instead if I enable this one, highlight, you can see this. So now you understood the difference between highlight, filter and none. So now the question is, when will I use none? For example, you have, listen, I select a card here. So here I just select the total sales. it shows me something like this, right? When I select this one, see here it change, this value also change, right? This value it changes. So I wanted to I don't want this value to be changed. Okay, what I do is I just go to format and edit interaction for this. Yeah. So I want to see the total sales, and again I just want to see the changes here itself. I don't want to disturb this one. Okay, so if I select anything, oh it is okay. 1 second, here filter. Okay, here none. I need to enable this one, none. Don't change this value. Okay, instead you can change only these values. Okay, highlight filter. So highlight and filter is very easy, right? Very easy to understand. So here let's do one thing. Here what I do is I just select highlight, the same thing, the opposite. If I select any one of them here, if I select any one of them here, only the corresponding value let. So likewise all the visuals you can see here. If I say highlight, only the values that are relevant to this one you highlight it here. So you need to enable highlight here. But filter, show all the values that are relevant to it. Don't display all the year value or all the things here, all the categories. This is related to technology related thing. This is the one, this subcategory is related to technology. So in this subcategory, for all the 4 years, what is the sales? Okay, fine. Now we understood, right? So what is the difference? How do we control the filter? Using edit interaction. In the interview they'll ask you, there is a format button. You can go and enable edit interaction. With that you should be able to control the interaction. There are 3 icons. As soon as you select edit interactions, there are 3 icons will get enabled, and one is the filter one, other one is highlighting, other one is none. So there are no interactions. When you enable none, there will not be any interaction between the visuals. So hope you understood this one. The next one is row level security. With this I'm going to wrap up the session. Sorry I took much of the time, right? So let's go here and the home page and home ribbon, row level security. I'll just show you what is row level security. Now let us go to modeling, and you have something called managers roles. You select this one. First of all, what is row level security? Row level security is used to restrict the data access for the given users. For example, you are a North region manager. You are a manager for the North region, and Puneet is a manager for the South region, and other person is let's say Murali is the manager for Central region. Right? When I share this report or when I publish the report or dashboard on BI service, and the relevant users, so, for example, the Puneet should see only the South region related reports, right? The visual should get filtered with South region, and the North region manager should see only the data that is relevant to him, and the Central region manager should see only the data relevant to him. Okay, so the North region sales should not be viewed by South region manager. It is not relevant to him. Why should I enable the South region manager to see all things? Right? I wanted to restrict the data access for each users. So the filters, right? Filters restrict data access at the row level. So we can define filters with the roles. See, this is what the roles. We can define filters with roles. For example, I just create a role like the manager North something like, okay, and I already created it. When you create manager North region, okay, or instead of manager I say VP North region, and then I'm going to create VP South region. Okay, I just rename it here. And what I do is I just select it here, and the sales W04. Right, this is the file. I have the data and the region information is available. Add filter. So what I just do is I just go ahead and select the region column, and then here automatically it shows the value. You need to replace the value by the region name. So north. Okay, and similarly I just create another role, VP South region on this data set. Add filter, select region here, and then here what you do is you select the South region. That's all. Okay, and we click save here. We are done with it. Okay, we have defined the roles for two different VPs. One VP belongs to North region, other guy belongs to South region. Now how do we test that? For example, I just go here and click view as. I just click view as, and here the VP South region, if I select on this, the South region VP can see only, look here, this value got changed, 1.43, right? 1.43 M. Okay, and here I just go ahead and select VP North region. See 1.43, he note it down. North region VP. He wants to see the data that are relevant to his region. The visuals will remain as it is. Only the filter, right? The overall filter get applied. So here 1.11 M. So this is how you can create row level security. Once you create the row level security, you can publish it to the cloud on Power BI service. Okay, so after publishing it, you need to map with specific user, right? We'll see how to create a user in Power BI workspace tomorrow. Okay, and before that, before wrapping up, we have something else called object level security. What is object level security? So in this case, we have only one table. If you have multiple tables, if you are using multiple tables, because of security reasons, you don't want the object, which is nothing but the table itself, not to be seen, because it has critical information, highly secured information like credit card number and all the credit card related informations are available. So very highly secure data. In that case, you can enable object level security. First of all, don't allow the users to view the sales table at all. Okay, specific table. Okay, so just go to the modeling again and manage roles. Click manage role. So here already created OLS security. Simply what you do is you can, yeah, I'll just create one more thing. So object level security, right? So I just create one, that's all. But in Power BI desktop, you don't have the option to create the object level security. And what you do is you need to go to the external tools. You will find something called tabular editor, but you need to go to Google and download this one, install it on your laptop. Okay, you have to go to Google and download space tabular editor, press enter, and you can go and download. It's a open source, you can download it. You don't have to pay any licensing cost. It doesn't involve any licensing cost. You just go here and you just type download tabular editor. Not this one, tabular editor itself is there. You just go to this website. The installation is very simple. If you scroll down, and you can find somewhere here. Yeah, you can go to download. Look here, it is available. If you go to downloads, you can find this one, 64-bit and 32-bit. You can download 64-bit. Once you download it, and you click next, it will get installed. Okay, you don't make any changes. Simply click next, it will get installed, and then you close your Power BI desktop and open it, and you will find automatically the tabular editor will get figured under the external tools. Okay, so what you do is click the tabular editor. It will take some time to open it. Apart from this, we have something else called DAX Studio. You can download DAX Studio also, because in the real-time scenario, they use DAX Studio to do performance tuning, everything. Okay, to see the performance of your DAX commands or queries, whatever you written it. Okay, stop viewing. Just once again, right? So you need to click stop viewing. So in the table editor, you will find the role which we created there, or the OLS something, right? Main menu file. Yeah, you will find, see on the right side, this is the table editor. It opened. So whatever the one which we are using it, Power BI, you can see it here. Look here, I'm using calendar table, says W04, and I just select this one. And also you can see the roles. Select roles, and you will find the OLS security. This is object level security. This is what I created it. You remember in Power BI, this is what I created, modeling. And when I go here, the manage roles. Okay, so that's what I created, object level security. That is what the role that I created. You just expand this one. You can see the same thing here. Whatever you see it in Power BI, you can see it in the tabular editor also. Object level security, we select it, and if you scroll down here, row level security also you can enable it. And table permissions, look here, and here I just select sales W04 table, and here we have three options. When you select this list down, right, here list of values here, so default none read. Here if I select none, no one should be able to view my table. Once again, none. So you have something read. Read is the end user can view my data, but they are not supposed to make changes to it. Okay, and none is don't enable the viewing of the table itself. So the next one is you go here and click save all. That's all. Okay, when you come back here, look here, and when I already I saved it, right? Okay, I saved it. Yeah, once again. So now if I go and it takes some time working on it. If I want to view it, it is opening. 1 second. Let me just. So here manage view as object level security. Yeah, you need to test it with view as. Okay, you cannot. When I don't use that one, right, that when I don't apply that object level security, it was visible. See, when I tested it, that means I applied the object level security, whatever I set it with the help of table or editor, it came into effect, right? You need to use view as. You using view as, you are going to apply the roles, whatever you created it, right? So now the table itself not visible, because of which the visuals are not visible now. You understood? So that is the difference between row level security and object level security. You cannot, row level security, at least you can restrict the users to view only the, for example, north region manager can see only the north related data, south region manager can see only the south region related data. But when it comes to object level security, they can't even see the table itself. You wanted to disable the table from the viewing, okay? This is how you can enable it. All right. So what we will do is we will continue tomorrow with the workspaces. We will explore in depth what is Power BI service, right? How do we publish the reports, and how we can enable the roles there, and how do we create the users, and how we can create the workspaces, how we can deploy, how we can create the deployment pipeline, right? All these things we will see it tomorrow, okay? And also we will see probably right after completion of this, the day after tomorrow, or if time permits, we will show you how to create a dashboard, okay? So how to use various shapes like text, how to import the text, how to import the image, right? All the things we will see it day after tomorrow. These are the important topics, because the workspaces, that is the one we use it to publish all our reports or dashboards, to share it or collaborate with our team members, okay? That is the one you should be knowing it. So hope you remember all the interview questions, but again you need some time to go through on whatever I covered it. Watch my videos, okay? We will continue the training tomorrow, okay? All right. So can we continue tomorrow or day after tomorrow? Are you all available tomorrow? Because today itself many of them sent a message saying that they're traveling or somewhere, okay? Better we will continue tomorrow, right? And we will see if we can have it on day after tomorrow also, based on the availability of the members. All right. Okay, good night. Thanks for your patience. Okay, I will upload the video and right, you can watch my videos there.
Recording stop.